Welcome back to Creator View Chronicles. A little bit different of a setting in a video. It's because I'm an idiot. I'll explain that in a second. But in this video, I'm going to walk you through the project that I have built currently in Xcode. And it's just the UI and the dummy data. And the reason I had to focus on just dummy data UI, well, one, I wanted to get something in there up and running, but I couldn't use CloudKit yet, which is what I need to persist my real data, to link up with core data, all that good stuff. Because if you remember, I'm waiting on my LLC. I need to have an LLC before I can create my developer account, and I need that developer account to work with CloudKit. So I was delayed for 2 weeks. So during that 2-week delay, I just built up the UI with the dummy data. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through that project screen by screen and do more of a deeper dive of the features that make up Creator View in this initial version. Now, why am I talking to you on a cell phone video that's probably shaky and annoying the hell out of you? It's because when I did the screen recording, I deleted the video that had my face on it, that had the intro that was, explaining everything. So the video you're about to see is a voiceover, right? You can still see my screen share with Xcode and the simulator running the app, and it's me doing the voiceover. You just can't see this pretty face. I know you're so disappointed. Sorry, but deal with it. So here we're looking at the dashboard, and again, this is a summation of some of the important information from all of these screens you see here on the left. Again, it's the dashboard, quick summary, my first iteration of it. I imagine the dashboard is going to go through many iterations to improve this. Again, I want this to be the home base, so I want this screen to be super, super valuable. So I expect this to change a lot, but again, this is what we're starting with. As you can see, we have our current year-to-date earnings, the current month, August, how we're doing there, total tax write-offs for the year. We get a quick preview of this week's video, which again is another sample from our scheduler. This piece of data is very important, the video count, because we can't really control subscribers, control views. What you can control as a YouTuber is the work you're putting in. How many videos are you putting out? So the idea here is that they set a goal. I'm going to put out 10 videos a month. 12 videos a month, whatever that is. And then I can determine, based on the date, if they're behind that goal or if they're ahead of that goal, and it'll go green if they're ahead of pace, etc. There's a lot of color coding, green and red, in the app to indicate, you achieved your goal, you haven't hit your goal yet, you're behind pace. You'll see that come into play, as you can see in this graph here. I'm not going to explain the graph because we're going to explain that in the income section. But really, this graph is being reused from the bar graph that I built. We'll cover that here in the income section here. So again, dashboard, just a summary. I need to work to make this insanely useful. Definitely not there yet, but that'll be an evolution. So the income screen, like I said, this middle part is a horizontal scroll view. And then it's just basically a H stack of V stacks. And as you can see right this is just dummy data. It's not my real numbers, just for context. But you see I have courses, consulting, sponsors, AdSense. And like I said, this screen is just replacing my spreadsheet. I can do a lot with this. Like I said, this is an MVP of MVPs. So just this income screen is the first iteration. I have an idea to maybe put a heat map on this kind of spreadsheet thing based on the goals, but you can see you get the totals and the estimated taxes here on the left. Estimated taxes is nothing crazy. At least how I do it for my business, because you do your taxes at the end of the year. I don't get a tax return. I have to pay a hefty sum of taxes, but what I'll do, I just multiply it by 35%, right? What's 35% of my total? Just to give me a rough idea. Again, I'm not trying to make a TurboTax, right? An official tax program. Just give me a rough idea of how many taxes I'm going to owe, right? This doesn't take into account deductions and all that stuff. But again, just to give a rough idea. And at the bottom, you see, again, income year to date. I like keeping track of the average month because every new month that comes up, I try to beat my average, right? So if my average month was 22.5, I'd be like, all right, this month I'm going to go for 23, right? It's kind of this gamification with yourself. And then all I do is whatever your average month is, for example, this is through August, I basically multiply that by 12 to get your estimated 2021 income if you keep up this average of 22.5 a month. And then of course, this is 2021 in the upper right. You can see I don't have these years in there right now because this is just still dummy data, but you could theoretically go back and look at 2019, 2020, or add 2022 when that year comes up. So the idea is to have multiple years. And then when I click on the charts tab, these are actually built with dummy data. So, this actually matches the income table. So all these totals, this chart is accurate to what is in that income table. So you can see here, a nice little pie chart. Again, that distribution that helped me make those decisions that I talked about. This is one of my favorite graphs, seeing this, how your income, is made right now. And then scrolling down, again, this is based on a goal. So say your monthly income goal is 21,000, right? You set that goal at the beginning of the year. Well, again, you're going to get a green bar for that month if you broke it, and then a red bar if you don't. Again, back to that gamification, right? You can imagine like, got to get a green bar this month, got to work hard. I like that gamification thing of trying to get as most green bars as possible. And again, this is all accurate based on the table. It's doing all the math, pulling that in. Here's where we get to the thing that's not accurate, right? You look at this line chart. This looks like a mess. This is not helpful at all. I'm still working on this. I got the basic line chart with some dummy data working in the whole like UI setup. But what I want to do with this is, look at this. This is a mess. This would only show up if your income streams were roughly the same. As you can see with like the chart up here, right? Like my courses income stream is going to be way more than like my consulting and my sponsors, right? So they won't all be cluttered like this. But what I want to do is I want to be able to make this chart dynamic. So if you tapped on an income stream, you can show and hide it. So for example, if I tapped on this one, it's not working yet. You know, I would hide the pink income stream, and then that would renormalize the y-axis based on like the highest income stream. And then that way you can either, you know, depending on what you activate and deactivate, you can compare certain income streams, or you could just look at one by itself, or you could look at them all together, which might be a mess depending on how your data looks. But again, the user has the options to show and hide whichever income stream, and then, you know, compare their data as they choose. So again, this is like super early. I'm still working on this chart, but that is the idea. The idea is to not just give them a mess like this, because I don't think this is that helpful right now. And you'll notice the colors like don't match because I'm doing random colors. Again, still very much a work in progress, but you get the idea for what I'm trying to do. And again, back to the whole MVP of MVP sentiment, this is like a data visualization section. These are the 3 basic charts I'm starting with, but I want to get crazy with data visualization. So that's something I will continually work on throughout the year. For example, same here, you can go, you know, back to previous years and see your income distribution for 2019. If you remember a couple of videos ago, I said my 2019 pie chart had so many slices, and it made me realize I was spreading myself too thin. So I think another cool screen would be to compare year over year. So maybe I'd have like a compare pie charts button, and it would show, you know, 2019, 2020, 2021, or however many years I had all together, so I can see the evolution like of my business. And you can do the same thing with all these other charts. So again, data visualization is a huge part of this app. We're starting with these 3 basic charts, but I can see this expanding into a lot of cool stuff. And then onto the video scheduler. Again, super basic, just drag and drop. I put in some dummy data right now. So you can see like Swift News on Monday, but what if something came up? I need to move Swift News to Tuesday. Cool. And then you can see, you know, videos can be on the same day and the UI adapts, right? What if we were doing all of these videos on the same day? And then you saw the context menu, right? If I want to edit or delete a video, that's not in place yet. Well, I think delete's in place. Let me delete the ISF Q&A. Yep. And then you see the animation, and I can move Swift News around. So you see, I wanted a real quick calendar, super basic, just drag and drop, add, delete real quick with some basic color coding for the scheduler. And this is just a rolling 3 months. So you see, went back to July, August, and September. You know, I don't have like a full 3-year calendar because as a YouTuber, like I don't need to know what I did 3 years ago, or I'm not planning videos out 6 months in advance. Maybe some people are, maybe I'll need to change that, but I'm starting with a rolling 3-month calendar, and that is configured automatically based on some like calendar math, right? I get today's date, as you can see, August 18th is highlighted, and then I basically do the math from there to show the previous month and the next month. And then over to channel stats. So you see, this is all kind of dummy UI. I'm reusing the bar chart that I used from the income tab over here. This is basically just getting reused. I probably need to tweak the chart because it doesn't look that great. So I'll probably do a channel stat version of the chart, but it'll be similar. I'm talking about like code reuse and all that stuff. But again, the idea is the same. You have monthly uploads, monthly views, monthly subscribers, monthly watch hours. And again, you're trying to get that green bar. So you don't see it here, but the user is going to be able to set a goal for each of these topics. And then based on that goal will be whether they get the green bar or the red bar. So it's up to the user themselves how much they want to push themselves, right? So again, not much is being made here, but this is just pulling down from the YouTube API all their channel stats. So they will have to authenticate with Google, to give me access to this. So if they don't log in with Google here, I'll probably have to come up with a nice empty state to let them know. And this tab will be useless if they don't do that. Taxes. So here, I don't have a good empty state for that, but you can see basically typical data entry stuff, right? I can do creator, view, I added a space to creator view and I'm not used to it yet. Creator view subscription, right? Because that would be a tax write-off. The dollar amount will say 180 because I think I am going to offer like an annual price to be less than the $20 a month. Maybe like $15 a month if you pay for the year in advance, that kind of stuff. And you can say invaluable business tool, right? Just give a little note for the tax thing, right? And you do add tax item. There you go. And then it totals it up. We could keep adding this stuff and I could see my total write-offs. Again, things like my computers, my MacBooks, those are write-offs. Any camera equipment for the YouTube channel, those are write-offs. And again, I know I've said this, but I want to be clear and I need to make this clear in my messaging. This is not in there yet that, hey, this is just for like estimate purposes only. This isn't meant to be TurboTax, right? This is just estimates. And I have another idea that I want to do here, like the 1099 tracker, because as a YouTuber, like how I get paid, whether it's from Teachable, YouTube AdSense, like Gumroad, they're all on 1099s. My sponsorships with Squarespace, I get paid on a 1099. So I can keep track of like the 1099s I'm expecting to get, and then I could put a little green check mark next to them once I've actually received them in the mail. That's on the income side of things. Many YouTubers may be hiring people. Maybe they hire an editor or a designer to do something. Well, they get paid on a 1099. So you have kind of incoming 1099s and outgoing 1099s. And it's just a way to track that, come tax season, you're a little more organized. So that's the basic functionality. Again, you got the dashboard, which sums all that up. The income, right, where your data entry here, and then it gives some nice data visualization on the charts. You can keep your video schedule going and quickly move things around because, with me, I'm constantly like, changing stuff, moving video release dates around because I procrastinate, but I want that ease and to be able to see like a bird's eye view of my month on like when videos are coming out. And again, channel stats, just real quick, looking at your data. Taxes, we just went over that. Now, here's like the about. This was important to me. Like I made this a first-class citizen, and by first-class citizen, I mean it's not buried in settings somewhere. It's like actually part of this. We'll come back to that in a second, but for now, this is upfront first-class citizen because I feel like this is important. Like I want people to know that this isn't some company building this app. This is a YouTuber just like you who knows how to build apps, building a tool like for you. It's kind of like for the community, by the community kind of thing. So I want to tell them a little bit about my story and then also point them to, I'm going to do a video like how I use Creator View that'll kind of show off how I use it to maybe show them the full capabilities of how I expect this product to be used. Of course, they're going to use it in their own way, but seeing mine as an example, maybe like, oh, I didn't even realize I could do that kind of stuff. And then, of course, I want to also point them to this YouTube playlist of Creator View Chronicles, because I feel like, if they're a YouTuber and they're kind of interested in building their own business, they might be interested in how this app is being built. And if they follow this vlog series and see this whole progression and get to know me, the developer, and know what I'm trying to do with this, maybe they'll be more invested and they'll be more apt to help out and not like quick to churn and cancel their subscription at the smallest hiccup. Maybe they'll be more inclined to reach out to me and hop on a video call and have a discussion and work with me. So basically, the idea here behind this about screen is to build a relationship with the user, let them know I'm just one person, right? I'm not some giant company throwing a ton of money at this. I'm just one person working on it on his own. So I want that to be upfront. Same thing with privacy. I want them to know that, your business is your business. I can't see any of their business data. It's all in their private iCloud. So great. I'm not using any analytics to track what screen they're using, all that stuff. Many people may think that's a detriment to your business and being able to build a product. I think that's a valid point, but I'm choosing to not do anything like that because I want this privacy to be a big deal. And then the feedback. Like I said, I'm happy to DM me on Twitter, email me. I'm happy to hop on a phone call with some of my early paying users. Because like I said, the people that are paying $20 a month for this initial MVP, they're probably pretty desperate for a tool like this if they're willing to use something so like early in its development cycle. So I'm willing to hop on a call with them and try to make the product as best as I possibly can, as fast as I possibly can. So now let's talk about these being first-class citizens, because these are usually buried in like settings or an about screen. I'm going to slowly rotate them out as I add more like income tab, video schedule tab. I have ideas for like 5 more tabs. Again, the features that can be built in this thing are huge. Like it's going to take me years to build all my ideas. But again, that'll evolve over time. But as I fill these with more quote unquote real tabs, not about privacy, I will rotate these out. Feedback will probably be the first thing to go. The next real feature I add, I'll move feedback into settings. And then the next feature, maybe I'll move the privacy statement into settings, right? You see where I'm going with that. And these are, as far as how they're built, like these are just basic, VStack, typical Swift UI stuff. I think I forgot to mention like how some of these are built. Taxes, this is just, these are all H stacks. Like as I add a tax item, this is just an H stack going across. And then channel stats. So bar charts, let me go to income for the bar charts. This pie chart, I had to follow a tutorial because there's some like pie chart math, like radians and cosines and all that stuff. So I did follow a tutorial for that one. I looked at a tutorial, but bar charts are pretty straightforward. It's just an H stack of rounded rectangle shapes. And then you're just determining the height of the rounded rectangle, based on the height of the view. And then you do some normalization of the data, but it's essentially just dynamically setting the height of a rounded rectangle shape in an H stack. And what I did to get these dividers behind it, you can probably barely see that in dark mode. We'll switch to light mode. You can see that a bit better. This is just so it's an overall Z stack. So the bottom of the Z stack is a V stack of dividers with a space in it. I just made it so they lined up nicely with my V stack of labels here. And these are dynamic, by the way. Like if my biggest bar was 100 grand, these would all dynamically change that. That was some tedious code. But yeah, so that's basically how I built the bar chart. And then the line chart, I followed a tutorial from Thinking in Swift UI or objc.io. But I did the same concept. Like they just had the chart. I did the same concept of like the Z stack with the V stack of dividers in the back to give me that line and line it up. But essentially the line chart's pretty easy. It's just a path. Like if you've ever drawn custom shapes, you're just basically drawing a line from point to point. And then obviously this is just an H stack of that. And I need to make this an H stack of buttons because right now it's like labels because again, I want to activate and deactivate that. This chart is going to get complex over time. Right now it's like super basic, but yeah, that's the basics right now of my MVP, the status as of August 18th. We're looking to launch when iOS 15 launches, which I heard is going to be like the third week of September. So I got a little more than a month to keep polishing this, changing the design, adding features. The big thing though, now that I got the LLC approved, is to move this over to the creator view account. And like I said, I'm going to basically copy and paste every file, but take that time to do some cleanup, do some refactoring, some organization. So my new project will be nice, neat, clean, because this project, which has been like my test project, all kinds of hacky code, which has been fun to write. I'm not gonna lie. With so much tutorials and teaching and courses, every line of my code, I have to do my best to make sure it's best practices. And I know I have to be able to defend and explain pretty much every single line of code. So I can't do those like, oh, I'm kind of breaking the rules here, or I know this is a little bit hacky, but I'm going to live with it. I haven't been able to do that in years. And I've been able to do that with my like hacky fun project. So that's been like a relief, as weird as that sounds. But anyway, the big thing once I get it over to the new Creator View account is to start working on the persistence. Like you saw me like add these videos, right? When I close the app, these videos are gone, right? And my taxes, right? This tax view is gone, even though I added that Creator View item. Where I can persist it in core data and then persist it up in CloudKit. And I'm actually gonna buy a 12.9 inch iPad because I have the 11 inch because I want to test them on both, but I can also test that CloudKit syncing. So that is super important for the whole process of the launch because now I can start dogfooding my product. If you're familiar with what dogfooding is, it basically means before it launches, like use your own product, right? Because remember, I am the user. So as soon as my data can persist, I'm gonna start running my business on this app. And that will be a great way to start finding the kinks, like finding where this doesn't quite work when I'm actually running my business using the app. So I couldn't do that until I got CloudKit and core data synced up. Couldn't do that until I got the LLC. Well, that's all taken care of. So that's the next big focus and work. And we'll talk about that in a future video. But the next video, we're gonna talk about this app icon and the design process and my thoughts on how I ended up here.